Good day viewers, today we are going to be reviewing or previewing rather the agricultural science practical for Neco 2026. So we quickly ask ourselves some of the possible questions and provide answers to those questions. Specimen A is wheelbarrow, B garden fork, C shears, D urea fertilizer, E cow dung, F yam tuber, G groundnut seed, H rat, I animal horn, J oyster shell, K maize cob. Alright, this is the wheelbarrow which most of us are familiar with. So specimen A is wheelbarrow. Describe specimen A. Of course, it consists of a large metal basin container, has a metal wheel which is made of steel, bearing and rubber tire, has two short legs at the back for support while resting on the ground, and it has two handles for pulling and pushing. List 4 uses of specimen A. So this is a possible question. List 4 uses of specimen A. Of course, for transporting farm inputs, for transporting farm produce, for carrying farm tools and working materials around the farm, for carrying farm refuse out of the farm. These are just 4 of the numerous uses of the wheelbarrow. List 7 ways of maintaining specimen A. List 7 ways of maintaining specimen A. Of course, tighten loose bolts and nuts regularly, very important. Check the tire pressure and inflate when necessary so that it doesn't get deflated, you understand. The paint to prevent rusting of the metal parts. Lubricate moving parts. Store in a cool dry place. Replace worn out parts. Clean after use or wash and dry after use. List 4 functions of specimen B. It is used for turning manure during compost making. It is used for loosening the soil before transplanting. It is used for loading manure. It is used for loading hay. It is for loading hay. State 4 maintenance practice for specimen B. Clean after use. Keep in a dry and cool place. Paint metal parts before long storage so that it doesn't rust, and apply grease to avoid rusting as well. So apply grease, paint metal parts, keep in a cool dry place, and clean after use. Very important. Specimen C, shears. Let's describe specimen C. It's an enlarged pair of scissors or scissors-like tool. Possesses 2 long metal blades. Handles may be wood, metal, rubber, or plastic. The blades are sharpened at one edge, and the blades are connected to the pivot by bolts and nuts. 3 uses of specimen C. You have trimming of hedges, pruning of tree crops, cutting of flowers. These are 3 uses of specimen C. And farm implements that could use in place of specimen C is secateurs, almost scissors like this specimen. 8 maintenance practice for specimen C. Sharpen the blade, straighten the blades when bent, lubricate the joints, grease blades to prevent rusting, tighten loose bolts, apply termite repellent to wooden handles. So if the handle is made of wood, you ensure that you apply termite repellent. Then clean and wash dry after use. Store in a cool dry place. That's a way of maintaining specimen C. Then of course, urea fertilizer. 8 differences between urea fertilizer and cow dung. This question is usually when both of them are used as specimen, they usually ask to differentiate between both of them. Remember, one is organic, the other one is inorganic, right? So when it comes to the type of fertilizer, the urea fertilizer is inorganic while cow dung is organic. Then these are some of the difference. This has a granular structure, this one has an amorphous nature. Then of course urea fertilizer, you require skilled people to apply it, while for cow dung it doesn't really require skill to apply. Then of course urea fertilizer is odorless, while cow dung, obviously it's an excrement of cow, has an offensive odor. Then cow dung is relatively cheap, while urea fertilizer is expensive to procure. So state the major nutrient supplied by urea fertilizer to the soil. Of course, nitrogen is a major nutrient supplied by urea fertilizer to the soil. Further fertilizers that could supply the major nutrient mentioned, that's further fertilizers that could supply nitrogen. We have NPK fertilizer, diammonium phosphate, calcium ammonium nitrate, ammonia and Neco. All of these they supply nitrogen to the soil. State 5 disadvantages of using specimen D in crop production. Leaves acidic residues in the soil, high technical know-how to apply, is toxic to human health, could cause injury if not properly applied, expensive to procure, easily leached or eroded from the soil, could pollute agricultural land and water bodies. So all of these are disadvantages of using urea fertilizers in crop production. Cow dung, that's E now, cow dung. Remember previously we've differentiated between urea fertilizer and cow dung. That's urea fertilizer, which is inorganic, and cow dung, which is organic. List 5 uses of specimen E in agriculture to improve soil fertility, for making compost or farmland manure, to generate biogas, enhances the activities of soil microorganisms, and to improve soil structure. List 4 factors which affect the quality of manure produced. List 4 factors which affect the quality of manure produced. Age of the animal, nutrition of the animal, physiological state of the feed, nature of the animal. I think this particular specimen was using Agric WAEC as well. So basically a repetition. It's a popular specimen. State 4 methods of applying specimen E to a fish pond. Now this is actually from fisheries past question, but let's just quickly have a knowledge of it. Broadcasting, heaping, platform, and bagging. So all of this, platform or dry bottom and bagging, these are 4 methods of applying urea fertilizers to a fish pond. Yam tuber. Let's quickly see. List 5 varieties of specimen F. There's 5 varieties of yam. So you have, remember yam is Dioscorea species. So you have Dioscorea rotundata, Dioscorea alata, Dioscorea bulbifera, Dioscorea cayenesis, and Dioscorea domentorium. So these are all cultivars of yam. 3 diseases of yam. You have yam mosaic disease, you have yam rot, you have yam leaf spot. Then pests of yam include yam tuber beetles, yam shoot beetles, yam beetles generally, and of course rodents. All of these are pests. So these are the diseases and pests of yam. List 5 cultural practices in yam farming. 5 cultural practices in yam farming. You have mulching, regular weeding, application of fertilizer, staking, training of vine. All of these are cultural practices in yam farming. Then what's the method of propagation of yam? You have yam sets or yam seeds basically, then yam mini sets. So these are the method of propagation of yam. For advantage of staking, remember we just said staking is one of our cultural practices. So staking is essential for good yield. Stakes give support to the climbing vines, minimizes damage to the vine, exposes the leaves for photosynthesis. So staking as a process has all of these advantages. These are past questions on yam during the agricultural science practical. This groundnut seed is specimen G. What is the botanical name of specimen G? Arachis hypogea. It has hypogea germination, of course, but name just coincidentally name is Arachis hypogea, and of course it's a legume or oil crop. Then it's an annual plant and it's propagated by seeds. It's propagated by seeds. Two pests of groundnut. You have rodents, you have groundnut beetle. These are pests of groundnut. Diseases of groundnut, you have groundnut rosette caused by virus, you have ticker disease, you have aspergillosis. All of this caused by fungus. So you have groundnut rosette, virus, and the rest. Now, industrial products of groundnut, you have groundnut cake, groundnut oil, groundnut butter. All of these are products of groundnut. Industrial products of groundnut. Outline the steps involved in the processing of groundnut to obtain oil. Outline the processes or the steps involved in the processing of groundnut to obtain oil. To obtain groundnut oil, that is. You have drying, threshing, winnowing, shelling, roasting, milling, oil extraction, and filtration. So these are the steps in the processing of groundnut into groundnut oil. Outline the steps involved in the processing of specimen G, that's groundnut to groundnut cake. You have drying, roasting, grinding, pressing, frying the extract. Frying the extract. State 3 reasons for the inclusion of the plant from which G is obtained in crop rotation. State 3 reasons for the inclusion of the groundnut plant in crop rotation. Remember, groundnut was classified as a legume, and bacteria in the root nodules of legumes help in nitrogen fixation. So it helps in nitrogen fixation, controls erosion, and controls weeds by smothering them. 3 methods of harvesting groundnuts: by uprooting manually, by uprooting the plant; mechanically, by using groundnut lifter; and harvesting by means of hose. So these are 3 methods of harvesting. 3 methods of harvesting groundnut. H is rat. H is rat. State 4 economic importance of the rat. Of course, they feed on crops, they destroy the whole plant, they reduce the crop yield, they increase the cost of production. It's a pest. So rat as a pest, these are the general effects it has on plants. Then crops attacked by specimen H: rice, yam, cassava, different types of fruits. All of these fruits, they are attacked by rat. So it feeds on a variety of plant species. State 6 control measures for specimen H. So generally you have the physical control, the chemical control, the cultural control, biological control, regulatory control. All of these controls are used, but we need to just outline some of them. So trapping with bait, use of rodenticides, use of traps, use of the predators, that's a biological control method. Clean weeding of farms, shooting and fencing. That's a physical method. So all of these are used as control measures for rats in the farm. I is animal horn. Animal horn. I is animal horn. Name 3 animals from which animal horn can be obtained or gotten. You have cattle, sheep, goats. These are 3 animals from which it can be gotten. Now, state the location of the body of the animal where the animal horn is obtained. State the location on the body of the animal where it is obtained, the head region. What is the term for the removal of the horn from young animals? It's called disboarding. Disboarding. 5 ways of dehorning an animal. Use of hot iron, use of a metal saw, use of chemicals, use of electric dehorner, use of gouge. All of these are used for dehorning animals. What's the term for removal of eye from animals? Dehorning, just the way I've just used it across all of these points. 5 economic importance of eye of the animal horn. It's a raw material in knife handles and bed heads for decorative purposes, for making fertilizers, formulating feed for livestock, music and cultural purposes. In fact, it has a lot of cultural significance, especially in the eastern parts of Nigeria and Africa culture in general. One importance of animal horn to the animal which has it, of course, it's used for defending themselves against enemies. So it's a very, very great defensive adaptation, structural adaptation in the animal. Name 2 elements present in specimen I. Calcium, phosphorus. Calcium, phosphorus are present in specimen I. Specimen J is oyster shell. Oyster shell. List 4 uses of specimen J in agriculture. 4 uses of oyster shell in agriculture: for bone development, liming of ponds, for reducing water turbidity, and of course in mechanical grinding of food. So it helps in, it's picked alongside feed and helps in mechanical grinding of food. State the physical form of J. White, gray, hard and rough. So it is hard and it is rough. That's the physical appearance of J. Physical characteristics of J. List 3 effects of the exclusion of oyster shell in the feed of chicks. Leads to retarded growth, leads to rickets and osteomalacia, that are malnutrition diseases, and causes paralysis. Remember we just mentioned that it's very essential for bone development. So it causes paralysis if it's deficient in the feed of chicks. List 3 effects of the exclusion of oyster shell in the feed of layer birds: production of soft-shelled eggs, egg pecking, bone fractures, and general weakness. These are the effects of exclusion of oyster shell in layer birds. 3 methods of application of J in ponds: bottom distribution, sack bag method, broadcasting, etc. What are the major nutrients provided by J? Calcium and carbonate. Remember, it's calcium carbonate. So calcium and carbonate are the major nutrients provided by the oyster shell. And finally, the maize cob, K. Describe the maize cob. Now, the maize cob is the central structure of the maize plant without the grain. So the grains have been removed, and that is when you have your maize cob. Botanical name, Z-maize. It's a cereal, it's an annual crop, and it's propagated by seeds. So these are all past questions on this particular specimen. 5 uses of specimen K: formulation of animal feed, bedding, burned as firewood or fuel, agricultural mulch, and for composting. So these are all uses of the maize cob. One pest of the maize cob, you have your maize weevil, you have others, man as well, birds. All of these are all pests of maize. 3 diseases of the crop from which kale was obtained: maize moth, maize rust, maize streak. All of these are all diseases of maize. So ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this particular video. Sorry for the sound, but because of the environment, I just had to quickly do it. Thank you and goodbye.